So welcome everyone to Cloud Pages 101, or Introducing Cloud Pages. I'm Abby Spons. I'm the product manager for Cloud Pages here at ExactTarget, and I'm joined by Joe Morell, who's the Director of Technology at C-Track, one of our largest partners and customers, as well as Megan Douglas, our SoulCon subject matter expert. And we are all so excited to introduce Cloud Pages to you. Got a nice little sneak peek this morning in the keynote, but we'll dive down into a lot more detail today. So what we'll cover, we'll go through what Cloud Pages is and how it can really help your business. We'll also see some success stories of how customers are using our family of applications that exist today, as well as looking forward to using Cloud Pages. And we'll see a demo of the application, so real, live production software that's available today. So as a product manager here at ExactTarget, it's my job to talk to customers and find out what can we do to help your businesses and help you do your job. From those conversations, what I've learned is you want to create really engaging content, but it can be difficult to do that. Customers are expecting relevant content that's exactly relevant to who they are and what their interests are. People are consuming content on mobile devices, but only 1 out of 4 of you can actually create content that looks a certain way on a mobile device. And what you might not be aware of is conversion rates for that content is 10 times higher than on desktop devices. Customers are looking at content on Facebook and social networks. They want to engage with brands. But the second that content becomes stale or boring, they're going to terminate those relationships. So all of this drives us towards this idea that there's a whole new way to engage with customers. They're on social networks, pardon our lighting. They're on social networks all day long, checking their LinkedIn, Twitter, Facebook feeds. They're looking at those updates on desktop devices and on mobile devices. Mark Benioff called out the same stat this morning, but there will be 5 billion smartphones by 2017. So pretty much everyone has one. If they don't, they will really soon. Soon enough, people are going to be looking at that same content, those same updates on connected devices, iWatches, connected toothbrushes, scales. All of this drives us towards customers are expecting relevant experiences. They're really demanding. They want content that fits them exactly how they are. And they're expecting these content on all different channels. So as a marketer, you have lots of tools to engage with customers. Facebook tabs, landing pages, mobile applications. But that can be a really overwhelming amount of content for any one brand to have to manage. So we thought, what if there was one place where you could create and publish all of this content? And that's what drove us towards the idea of Cloud Pages. Cloud Pages is your one application, your one process for creating and publishing web and app content. Because it's part of the Marketing Cloud, you've got access to all of those same assets that you're used to in your email campaigns. All of the data you capture here is actionable throughout any other application on customer journeys. All of this so that you can focus on acquiring customers, driving engagement, conversion, and retention. So some of this might sound a little familiar. If you're used to the Marketing Cloud, you know about our existing applications like landing pages, microsites, social pages. On the Buddy Media side, we also have Profile Buddy and Reach Buddy. In the past, we focused on making it really easy to create content, and in doing so have built some best-of-brand solutions, each focused channel by channel. We've seen huge success, 3,000 customers generating 1.1 billion impressions every year. So we talked to those customers, and we found out that people love the interface from social pages. It's really modern, easy to use, but they also really want to create web content. Landing pages are some of the best ways to engage with customers. So we thought, what if we could bring all of this together into one application, take the easy-to-use interface from social pages, add some web publishing capabilities, plus a whole lot more functionality. And that would become Cloud Pages. So with that, I'm going to turn it over to Joe to walk us through how him and his customers are using some of those existing applications. Plus, we also ran a beta program for Cloud Pages just before bringing it to market, and Joe was able to participate in that. So we'll have some thoughts there too.
All right, thank you. All right, so of course the obligatory slide about me and C-Track. I'm going to start. I'm with C-Track. I'm the Director of Technology there. C-Track's based in beautiful Cleveland, Ohio. So we're lucky enough to be fairly close to Indianapolis and get to work closely with the ExactTarget team. We have over 40 clients on ExactTarget. The vast majority of those do have microsites and landing pages in use and active. It's a key part of what we tell our clients to be using. We were the 2012 Partner of the Year and the 2013 Top Revenue Solutions Partner. So we do quite a bit of both reseller and services engagements for ExactTarget clients. I've worked for a variety of companies in the past, both on the startup side, also worked on the developer tools team at Microsoft, so I really kind of appreciate the idea of trying to be able to make the creation of software, which is what things like landing pages really are, easier for the average person. I'm a dad, husband, and musician, depending on how many drinks I have in me. So what I wanted to share with you were 3 examples today. These are actual client examples and mini case studies of what we were able to build with the existing tools of microsites and landing pages. And I want you to keep in mind that these all are much easier to do now with Cloud Pages. So these are all 100% possible with Cloud Pages. In fact, it'd be faster and better to use those. But here's some actual results-driven examples that we have at C-Track. So the first is a company called Consumer Crafts. So Consumer Crafts is actually a B2B business, although if you were into scrapbooking at all, you might have encountered their products. So they sell in craft stores like Joann Fabrics, and they're really geared towards scrapbooking. So of course they said, you know what would be great? I bet scrapbooking people might possibly be interested in this website called Pinterest. And they might actually be, and yes, there are Pinterest boards about scrapbooking and scrapbooking products. And they said, this is a great way. We're seeing that we're getting a lot of hits on our website from Pinterest, so how could we really drive additional engagement and really encourage some of our customers to become evangelists? So they went and they created this Pin It to Win It campaign where they could go submit their name, their email address, and a URL to their Pinterest board, so they could then submit that and get entered into a drawing. This also encouraged them to actually pin some of the Consumer Crafts items to Pinterest. And they really had a lot of success, actually a surprising amount of success. Once again, it's a B2B company. They're still trying to really find a way to engage directly with consumers. And we actually ended up with several thousand submissions. The great thing about this tool and what we were able to build is that it took us less than 1 week from the initial phone call where they said, hey, I think we want to do this, to being able to launch it, which is, I think, the name of the game for marketers. If you have an idea, you don't necessarily want to go through a multi-month execution project plan. So it was a really great example of combining social media and the landing page power inside of ExactTarget. I'd like to talk more about myself right now. No. Okay. So let's see, are the Dollar Bank folks in the room right now? I know I saw Bill. Dollar Bank is a great customer of ours. They're a regional bank serving Pittsburgh and Cleveland areas primarily. This was another one of those ideas that we wanted to get out rapidly. We wanted the idea of being able to do some social referrals. I don't know how much, we were thinking about, should we do this Twitter thing? Should we do a Facebook campaign? Bank accounts, I'm not sure if that's really the right way of going about it. But what if we allowed people to refer a friend, and they could bring in a coupon and into the bank, and they could get $25 and also give the person who referred them $25. So a little bit of a viral growth campaign. We were able to very quickly create this. I'm going to tell you, I actually did some of the coding on this page, which means that it was very easy. And once again, in less than 1 week, we were able to go from that initial phone call with the client to a running campaign. This is an ongoing campaign, over 2,500 referrals. Once again, if you think about even a low conversion rate of 5 or 10%, you're talking about 125 to 250 new accounts for a very low cost, very low effort project that allowed us to go and get something up on the web quickly. So the final idea, and this really gets into this whole, normally I think when we were creating this, we were talking about mobile push, and now I think you could see how this could be done through Journey Builder for apps. But the idea of mobile offers for real-time engagement. So this is in process. This is not currently live yet, so that's the safe harbor statement. But we're going to do this, and it's going to be really cool. So Travel Centers of America is a customer of ExactTarget. They have truck stops all across the country. And they have ExactTarget. They use it for email, but we're also going to be using it for mobile push and push notifications. We're going to geofence all of the truck stops. Now, if you know anything about this business model, you'll know that the #1 thing they sell, the reason that people actually pull into the truck stop is for the diesel fuel and gasoline. You also know that they don't make very much money on that. The markup is only 1 or 2% on the fuel. Really where you make money if you're a gas station or a truck stop is you need to get people into your convenience stores. So if you've ever been to one of these truck stops, especially Travel Centers, which is actually a very, very nice, large truck stops that have lots of amenities for truckers, you'll know that those stores are huge and sometimes the lifeline for these truckers as they're going across the country. So what we're going to do is create mobile fences or geofences around the truck stops. So if they are going and fueling up their truck, I'm going to guess they do what I do when I'm filling up my car, which is I pull out my smartphone, and there I'm going to have that nice push notification. It's a 6+. That was on purpose. I'm sorry. I couldn't help it. And we'll go ahead and give them a coupon or some reason to come into the store. Maybe, see, I designed that, and I'm like, it should be free. We'll just give out coffee to people, but it'll probably be a discount on coffee. Or something like that to encourage the truckers to come in. And once again, that's really where the profit is. So you can see there that landing page with the barcode and the free coffee. We want that to be something that they can quickly update and change. And Cloud Pages actually gives them the ability to not just create a mobile push page, but create it and update it and maintain it. And I think that leads us into the meat of things, which is, let's see the demo. Correct? No, I'm wrong.
You've got one more.
But wait. So the big issue for us, and the reason that microsites and landing pages are always part of our suite of marketing products that we recommend for clients, and the reason why Cloud Pages is going to replace those, is the web is always going to be a key medium. It's been around the longest, really, outside of email. These web pages have been a way for us to digitally market things. But the problem has always been, hey, if you want to do an attractive page, yeah, we kind of have this template, what you see is what you get at editor, but you really kind of need to be a web developer if you want it to look nice. If you want to do mobile optimized pages, well, here's a tutorial on media queries and all kinds of things that make most of our eyes glaze over. Cloud Pages lowers that barrier to entry and allows a marketer to take their ideas and see them through to execution without needing that development resource, without needing those strapped IT resources, whether they're in your company or at an agency. The other big thing, and I think that I'm really excited to see what Marketing Cloud brings to the table over the next year with the rollout of their web analytics product. I would assume that there's some thought there on with Cloud Pages. So now we're talking about metrics and reporting and being able to drive people from these channels, whether it's email or mobile, directly to Cloud Pages and measure the engagement on both ends.
Awesome. Thank you so much for those examples. All right, so coming back to Cloud Pages and what it is, what you can do with it. So when we say web and apps, what does that mean? With Cloud Pages today, you can create landing pages for the web, Facebook tabs, or apps for Facebook. And a funny story about those two. So right when we were kind of starting this idea of Cloud Pages, bringing together some existing functionality, we have a customer who's using social pages today. They built an awesome Facebook fan tab and saw some great success there. So they then took it and embedded it in their website. And they called us up and said, hey, look, we reuse this content. We see value for both of these channels. Do you think you can make that more automated? We were like, yes, we can. Give us a few months and we'll have a new application for you. So aside from that, we've also introduced a third item, mobile push page. So we just saw an example of that from Joe, also the Live Nation example this morning. But it's rich content that can be sent with an alert from your mobile application. So to drill into that just a little bit more so the idea is totally clear for everyone. So mobile push today, what you're used to is the alert that you see on the left here. So you've got an icon, you've got some text. You're limited to really that text or sending them a link to a landing page that's driving them to a browser like Safari instead of engaging with them more. What you can do with Cloud Pages is design that sort of full screen view you see on the right. So images, forms, videos. Now when I get my alert, I swipe to the right, I get that content, and it's all in the context of my mobile application. So encouraging users to engage more with your content instead of just directing them somewhere else. So who here likes to code? Raise of hands. All right, so I'm seeing like 10 to 20%. So when we designed Cloud Pages, we wanted to make it accessible to marketers with or without any technical background. As Joe mentioned, one of the hardest things, whether you have developers on staff or not, or if you've got a corporate website, if you want to create content, it can take a really long time to build it, to get it published, to make updates to it later on. With Cloud Pages, we have a true drag and drop editing interface, all on top of an absolute positioned editor. So what that means is you pick the content you want and you put it on the page. You're not limited to templates with rows and columns where once you choose one, you can't really go back. It really is as simple as, you've got your image, you drag the corner, make it larger, make it smaller. You can layer pieces on top of each other, so kind of similar to PowerPoint, Photoshop, all of this without getting into any of the code. That being said, we do know that some people have developers on staff. They've got really custom ideas that they want to implement, and we still support that. We're not going to get in your way. You'll still have access to HTML, JavaScript, CSS. So when you want to make a really custom solution, that's still available. Let's talk about acquiring contacts. So email submission forms, gated white papers, event sign-up forms. They're all really great ways to engage with your customers, learn more about them, and with our Smart Capture gear, it's really easy to do that. You're building a form, you pick where you want to save your data to, so data extensions and lists within the Marketing Cloud, what fields you care about, so first name, last name, what's required, definitely want to get their email address. You can also set up what happens when they submit the form. So maybe you take them to another landing page, or triggered email send, so they get a confirmation or a welcome message right away. From there, all of that data is captured right into the Marketing Cloud, so it's actionable. Send that email, send a push notification, really anything that you want to do. So who here cares about mobile optimization? We've been talking about that a bit. Awesome. So I mentioned this beta program. Hands down, the #1 feature we get asked for and positive response we get when demoing the application is mobile optimization. People want to be able to control what content looks like on a mobile device. And if you've got a homegrown solution, you really don't have anything to do that other than getting into the code with media queries. So you'll see in the demo very soon, this is really easy to do. There's basically a toggle at the top of the screen. You start by laying out your content, maybe for desktop, switch to the other view. Your canvas gets smaller. All of that content is still there. So you're not starting from scratch. You can just go through and maybe reorder pieces, shrink them down. If you want to swap out an image, something that looks better on a smaller canvas, all really easy to do. Again, no coding necessary. One last piece before we get to the demo. For all of our enterprise customers, Enterprise 2.0 accounts. So if you want to have a Facebook presence for different business units or franchise locations, it can be really time-consuming to create almost identical content and manage publishing it one by one by one. With this tool, you can create content once and from a centralized place, publish it to unlimited Facebook fan pages. Or treat it like a template. Build content once and then maybe go destination by destination and change the image you have at the top, the address you're showing, the text. So really easy to manage a really large presence on Facebook. So one of our customers who's using this now, they're a beverage distribution company in Germany, and they wanted to create tab content that they could share with restaurants and cafes throughout the country. So as a consumer, when you go to your favorite restaurant and you engage with that brand, you're always seeing a consistent experience, consistent content. So with that, I think we are ready for our demo. So Megan's going to switch us over. Awesome. All right. So here we are. We're logged into the Marketing Cloud, and Cloud Pages is underneath the web channel. So we're starting out on our overview page. So this is where you can see everything that you've already created for what's live, how it's performing. You can also create something new. So I know it's a little small, but in the top right, that blue button you see, it says Create Collection. Collections are how we organize our content. So think of it like a folder, totally flexible, whatever you want to put there. If you're doing a truly cross-channel campaign with a landing page, a Facebook tab, a mobile push page, that can be your collection. Or it can be 20 landing pages, or just one. So you can see we've already got a few collections built. Let's go ahead and drill into hiking adventures. So now we're coming to our collection page. And this is going to be one of those cross-channel examples. We're NTO Outfitters, our favorite company, and we're going to let our customers enter for a chance to win a trip to Switzerland to hike the Swiss Alps. And we've already built our Facebook tab and our mobile push page. So today, we're going to build our landing page. So if we hit that Create button, so for now, you'll see all those options that we have. We'll choose landing page, but regardless, it's really the same experience, the same flow for whatever you're creating. And that's something that we see kind of expanding over time. Pretty soon, you'll be able to build microsites, so defining your sitemap, how these pages relate to each other, how users navigate from one to another. We see it expanding into things like preference centers to manage email subscriptions, mobile applications, kind of sky's the limit. All right, so now we're in our editor. So for those of you who are landing pages or microsites customers, this is going to look really different. If we have any social pages customers in the room, this will start to be a little more familiar. This is that absolute position editor. So on the left, you'll see tools. That's where you can set up styling. So background colors, font, padding, pieces like that. If we toggle over to gears, gears are how you build out your content. So let's start off with an image. So we're going to grab the image gear, drag it onto our page. Now we have access to all of those portfolio assets we've been using throughout the Marketing Cloud. Or if you wanted, you could upload a file on the fly as well. So Megan is searching for our social sweeps image that we used for our other two, our Facebook tab and our mobile push page, so we make sure we're using our same assets. So she'll find that and add it to the page. So now the really cool thing is you can see that absolute position editor in action. You just pick the picture and then put it wherever you want. So we're lining it up, we can drag the corner, have it fill the whole space, really just place it wherever. And once it's there, you can move it around. So now that we've got that on the canvas, we can actually go ahead and drag the bottom half of that image over as well. So we have this broken into two, but really easy to build out. So she's placing that on the canvas, grabbing our Social Sweeps 2 file, and we'll add it onto our canvas. And then we can start to see how these things interact with each other. So awesome. Now we've got that down at the bottom. And again, we'll get it lined up. You can drag the corner, expand it out. You'll also notice the page is kind of cutting off. So if we jump back over to that toolbox under Styles, we can increase the size of the canvas. So we're just saying how much space we want to work with. So down at the bottom, you'll see document height. It's set to 600 right now, but we can just go ahead and change that to 1200 or whatever number we want. So as soon as she clicks off, you'll notice we got a lot more space. Now we can expand our image. Once we do that, we'll be ready to start building out our form. So how we're going to capture our user information. So now we'll toggle back over to Gears and find Smart Capture. Awesome. So we add that. At the top, you'll notice there's a default data extension that's selected, but you have access to any other data extension or list that you have defined that you're working with wherever you want to save your customer information. So from that list, on the left, you'll see a whole bunch of attributes. Today, maybe let's just focus on first name. Drag that over. You'll see we've got a little mini absolute position editor here as well. So plop that top right. Maybe let's add last name as well, get their full information. We add that just below. And then let's just go for email address. So keep it pretty simple. There you go. So once that's on the canvas, we have a few other options. If we hover over, you'll see a little settings icon. So once that opens up, you can change the label. So maybe we want to add a space in the name or change it to something else. We can say this field is required. They have to fill it out. We can even put in custom validation messages of what it should say if they try to submit it without giving us that information. So from there, we'll save our form. And then we've got some more options here. So at the top, you'll notice an Advanced Options tab. So this is where you define what happens when they hit that Submit button. By default, we've got some text, but we could put an image in instead. We can put a URL for another page to direct them to. Over on the right, you'll notice email, send triggered email. So all those triggered sends you already have built out are available in that dropdown. And you'll also notice hidden attributes, some tracking code down at the bottom. So that one's really cool. That lets you see, as you start to create a lot of content, a lot of forms, once you collect that data, you can see where those leads are coming from, because that tracking code will be passed in with each record. It's a number now, but you can change it to a word, whatever you want. We'll take questions at the end, so hang on for 1 second. All right, so now we've got our form on the page. You'll notice it's layered right on top of the image. So again, place it wherever you want. If Megan hovers over the middle there, you'll see another little icon, Arrangements. So that's where you can do bring forward, bring back, again, just like PowerPoint, Photoshop. So I think at this point, we're pretty happy with our page. We've got our desktop all built out. Now let's check out that mobile option. So we've got our smaller canvas now. You'll notice all those assets are still there. So maybe we take the simple approach. We've got our image. We just move it over towards the top. Maybe we want to resize it to make it a little smaller to fit on the canvas. And if we click over, it's a little hard to look over your shoulder and drag. No, you're fine. Or we can just, if you want to move the Smart Capture over below, that'll probably get it out of your way. There we go. All right, so it snaps to place. Once you can drag that corner, we can move our Smart Capture gear below it. maybe we decide, I don't really need that bottom image. So in that layers section over on the right, you can hit that little eye icon and hide it. So the awesome piece now is we've saved this view and we haven't messed with your desktop version. So now if we were to toggle back and forth, ta-da, it's all the same. So really easy, matter of clicks to define exactly how you want your content to look across those two versions. So from here, maybe we're all set with our campaign. For those of you, again, used to landing pages and microsites today, there's no interactions process to publish content. It really would be as simple as just hitting that schedule publish button at the top right. So with that, we'll hop back over to the PowerPoint, just a few more slides, and then we'll get to everyone's questions. Bear with us. No, you're fine.
Was one of the breakout sessions a dance party?
Apparently you guys chose wrong. All right, thank you, Megan. Okay, so to recap everything we've covered, Cloud Pages makes designing and publishing web and app content easy. It is available today. Everything I just showed you, that was on production, so talk to your RMs to get access. And whether you're creating a really simple sign-up form or totally advanced custom use case with expiring content, it's all accessible within Cloud Pages. So with that, we will open it up to questions. 2 shout-outs before that, or 3 rather. There is a hands-on training session tomorrow at 4 o'clock. So if you want to get on a computer and use the Cloud Pages applications, create some content just like we did, that would be an awesome session for you. We've also got a booth over in the expo hall downstairs, so under that big purple web wraparound. Come talk to us. We're happy to share more info, give you another demo. And if you want to continue to engage with the product team, like myself, text Cloud Pages to 56237, and we will be in touch with you following connections. So with that, we've got 2 microphones in the middle of the room if you want to jump on up and ask some questions. I see we have our first one.
Hi. I got a few questions about when you're using this editor.
Yeah.
Would you still have access to the HTML and to the processing code?
Ooh, so in general with the HTML, I didn't point it out, but there was an HTML gear. So the really awesome thing is you can sort of use both experiences side by side. Like if you wanted to use our Smart Capture gear, our image gear, and then put some custom code in for HTML, you can do that all in that same experience. Or if you, oh, sorry.
And could I also be able to see the AMP script processing code for the Smart Capture form? Do that as well?
So for that question, I'm going to defer to some of our developers sitting in the front row. Byron, Garrett, Adam, any of you guys want to jump in?
Yeah, the answer is through Smart Capture, we encapsulate it so that it's kind of hiding the AMP code that's happening behind the scenes. But through the HTML gear, you're able to recreate that experience. So yes and no, we can show you an example of it, but we don't want you to actually touch it in the Smart Capture gear.
All right. And my last question, is there any type of form validation built in with this?
Yeah, so we had some basic form validation for Smart Capture. So with those attributes that you're dragging over, you can bake in, is it an email address, is it a state, is it a number, and then put some messages to help them there.
Thanks.
Awesome. I guess one other note on the HTML, so forward thinking, new product that we're continuing to enhance and add a lot of functionality to. We are working on getting an HTML-only editing experience there. So if you do want to just dig into the code, we'll give you that option as well. Next question.
Hey, I wasn't going to ask a question originally about this, but that just kind of triggered a thought. So based on what you guys were just talking, I get it. You bring an HTML gear, you can write whatever HTML or client-side code you want. Can you, like the demo you were doing, right? You're dragging the one half of the picture and the other one in a form on top of it. What if you want to see what happened there? Is there any exposure to that or not at this time? Or were you saying you were going to add it?
So as of now, when you are using those kind of canned gears, we don't show you what that HTML is. Mm-hmm. We sort of keep it separate. The HTML pure version that we're looking to add in the future would be just HTML. We're not kind of mixing those pieces in side by side. But we have had some older versions of different editors that have given, like, once you pick kind of that smart capture, image, text, there's been an HTML tab there, and we've shown some content. So that could be something we could bring back in the future.
Got it. All right, so my original question was going to be about asynchronous tracking and how these pages interact with marketing programs or Automation Studio. I guess my biggest question is, if you're using these pages, can you trigger decisions in Automation Studio off of whether they visited these pages, submitted a form, and so on, or are they not linked together now?
Yeah, so right now I don't believe they're linked, but that did bring up a really good thing that I forgot to mention. So predictive intelligence, web and mobile analytics. So that's something that was mentioned this morning. We have a whole team devoted totally towards showing you how people are interacting with your content. By the end of this year, we're actually in our next release, we're going to be integrating with that team. So when you build a cloud page, we'll automatically tag those pages with their code. So once you publish that content, you can then go into predictive intelligence and see how people are interacting with those pages, kind of before and after they submit the form, and connect that story. And again, you can put that same code on your corporate website or any other content that's not built with cloud pages.
And if you were talking also about, the idea of, whether or not somebody filled out a particular form in Journey Builder in order to kind of go and say, well, if they didn't fill out the form, then send this email. If they did, then send a confirmation or something like that. So if you saw with the Smart Capture, you can actually choose whether you're publishing to a list or a data extension. Well, the beauty is that you could link these data extensions with your contact model if you wanted to. And is it super straightforward and easy today to do this? No. But with a little bit of elbow grease and queries, you could definitely make that work within Journey Builder. So yeah, a form submission from cloud pages could be used as a decision point.
Yeah, I get that. I guess just to be clear, and I think I got what you're saying, and I think the answer is it doesn't work at all. Very soon in the future, it will work if you have predictive intelligence. But with other email platforms, if you have an agency that has clients that use other stuff, you may be familiar with, you can just tell by asynchronous tracking. They visited this page, that page, the other page, and so on, without any form submission. So I'm just trying to figure out if that would fill the gap or not. And I couldn't tell from the keynote whether that was just something they're working on, but it sounds like not in the plans here.
I think you'll probably find out more about that tomorrow morning.
Yeah, there's going to be a whole track on web and mobile analytics, but they did release it. I think I just saw their product manager and they said yesterday. So I don't think the so far in the future is really that far.
Alrighty, thank you.
No problem. Any other questions?
Are the pages going to be secure for payment processing?
Ooh, that is a good question. Do you want to take that one?
Yeah, sure. We do have another client that does do that type of thing. So we do support HTTPS. I don't know if they have a special cert on their end, but yeah.
If there's anything else, you can also just shout it out if you don't want to come up to the microphones. Yes?
Will the tracking also match up with Salesforce? Salesforce integration?
Yeah, so that's, right now, all of our data capture is going right to ExactTarget. Something that we hope to add early next year is that same kind of connection with Salesforce. So if you remember that Smart Capture gear at the top where we're picking our data extension or list, we'll add a step of what's your CRM? Where do you want to save this data? ExactTarget or Salesforce? And then at that point, it would be a direct connection. And we do support another gear that's up there that we didn't kind of walk through is our Salesforce web to lead gear. So if you use Salesforce and build out that kind of form capture there, you can grab the code and then paste it in and use it on our pages. Anyone else? Yes?
Are there any dynamic content tools baked in?
Yeah, so that's probably the biggest gap that we have right now with landing pages as they exist today. So that's not there right now. We've got some designs in motion of how we can bring it in. I don't know if you use social pages today, but we have a gating tool there where you can build out different versions of content based on how old people are or what country they live in. So we're going to try and leverage that same technology, again, if they've clicked through from an email and we know some information about them. Another piece that's kind of coming soon on our roadmap and towards announcements that will be made tomorrow/this morning in the keynote, the whole content concept, content builder, content canvas. They're a whole other team working on how you can build out content, and that's something that we'll be bringing into Cloud Pages as well, and they're tackling that problem as well.
Will there also be A/B testing with that?
Yes, that's another thing that they've got, so soon, probably mid next year.
I got a two-part question.
Yeah.
Is mobile push, does that require mobile connect, or is that something new that you're adding into Cloud Pages?
That is an awesome question. So mobile push is actually separate from mobile connect. So you don't need mobile connect, but you do need mobile push. Packaging-wise, though, there's some different ways of going about it. We have it set up so if you're a mobile push-only customer, you could get limited access to Cloud Pages with just designing that content. But you really do need that mobile push side to manage the sending of that content.
Yes.
Okay, so it's not integrated right out of the package.
Right.
Yeah.
So mobile, and I think the naming is kind of, I'm not a marketing person, so I would have just called it SMS and app push notifications, but it's not very sexy that way. So they're completely different products.
Have you changed much on the smart forms? Like we pass data into the smart forms from third-party applications using, parameters, and then we can set something up in the fields to capture those. You didn't change that, did you?
If you're doing that all through AmpScript today, that should still work here.
Okay. Good.
Cool, thank you. Yes?
When you said that we needed to request access to Cloud Pages, does that mean it's a buyout?
Yes, so this is a new application separate from landing pages and microsites today, so that's why you're not going to kind of automatically just get turned on for it. So if you talk to your RM, they can kind of talk you through the price points and the packages and kind of figure out the right model there. Anyone else? All right, so like I said, there's plenty of other ways. If you think of another question in a half hour, you can come find us in the expo hall. I'll be hanging out here. But just a reminder, make sure to take your after-session survey. You might win a Starbucks gift card, and if you don't have the mobile app already, you should definitely download it. It's the best way to see what's going on. And with that, have an awesome time the rest of the week at Connections. Thank you all so much for coming. And thank you. Maybe we'll also see you at Dreamforce in a few weeks. So take care.